best is yet to come.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters.
Good afternoon.
To set the stage for this particular scenario with speeches by management, this is a sales floor and we are a call center and I'm the sales manager and you are my sales staff. Normally we would enact this with a role play on a one-on-one scenario so you can really get down to the management aspect of communicating one-on-one with people, and sometimes that's a very difficult thing. But today, based on the people that we have, we're going to go ahead and do it as a floor scenario. Now, what we've had is a slump in our sales numbers. We've gone down a little bit, and that's what I'm going to be addressing. So I'm looking to address that issue, offer a suggestion about how we can change that, and then also ask the audience, which you're more than welcome to participate, and I'll throw out some suggestions. And you could tell me things that may be going on the sales floor that I may not be aware of, or things you're hearing from your customers, or maybe it's super cold, or maybe it's hot where you're sitting, where somebody just bothers you and you need to get away from them. And with that, we've set our stage. So we'll begin. We are an excellent team. We are team number one. Team Bentley has always been number one. We have been continuing for the last 2 years to carry the company as the number one. We've always been the lead dog. But as of late, it looks that our sales numbers, as we all know, have gone down just a little bit. Now what I'm going off of is raw data. I'm looking at numbers that I pull reports from. And the numbers look to be that our outgoing calls, we used to do about 50 calls a day per person. And so we've dropped off by about 10 per person, which is about 50 calls a day, 200 calls a week, 800 calls a month. Now from a raw data perspective, to me it looks like that's where the problem could be. But you are the best sales team that we've assembled. And what I'm unsure about is things that may be happening on the sales floor that I'm not aware of. Is there something that may be bothering, distracting? Is it the economics? You know, we are, on our team, we're calling on the East Coast. B team is calling in basically Central Time Zone. And then C team is calling on the Pacific Coast. So maybe there's things that your consumers or your customers are telling you that you're not even aware of, or I'm not aware of because I'm not listening to that. Or is there somebody that's not being a team member? And if there's somebody that's not being a team member, don't worry, we'll have one-on-ones later and you can go ahead and tell me then. I know you don't want to say now. But my goal is to address, obviously, the slump because we have been number one for so long. And the only thing that I really have to go off of is just that data, the numbers. And can that be it? So as a kind of a feedback or an open forum, what do y'all think about upping our numbers a little bit? So everybody put out production of 10 additional calls a day, which will put us back up to where we were. And then we kind of gauge it from there and see maybe in a couple weeks or a month if the pickup in sales numbers has actually increased our sales and if maybe that's it. Now we could do that. Is that something you think that we could do together as a team? We can up our sales numbers?
Yes.
To look up our calls?
The leads suck.
The leads suck.
There's a lot of personal drama going on the team
Uh-huh.
that I don't think you know about.
Okay.
The people creating the drama are not in the room now.
Okay, feel free to discuss them.
Well,
If you'd like.
That's fine. Person A is dating person B. One of those people is married, the other is not. it's creating a lot of personal drama.
Okay.
For the other people on the team, there's a lot of awkwardness, a lot of stress,
Okay.
which I'm sure you don't know about, but it's against the rules.
Right. This is an interesting one. We might have to pull HR in. It's creating a hard dynamic. So where you're sitting, you're dealing with, basically you're listening to the back and
You don't
forth.
have a choice. They don't talk quietly. Whereas the team used to be very friendly, they used to celebrate really good windfalls of sales when we used to do better than we did the week before.
Mhm.
We used to go out and celebrate on a Friday night. We can't do that anymore because things are awkward.
Okay. Do you think separating these two people from across, the way that our office is set up anyway, separating these two people by a good distance, do you think that will solve the problem? Is like something worth trying, in other words? Or is it more dramatic than that? So that maybe we separate them, but then you're over at the water cooler, or you're in, getting a coffee, and it's continuing over there, and then when you go back to your desk, it's like it's almost continuing with you. It's kind of like attached to you.
Scuttlebutt continues and it's bad.
What's that?
Gossip is bad.
Okay.
No matter where it's coming from, whether it's the break room over the coffee maker
Okay.
or it's in our office.
Okay.
I mean, this shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't date in the office.
Right.
It's a bad thing to begin with. I mean, stuff happens, but it shouldn't muddy the waters, and drama shouldn't be that bad that it affects this team.
Right. Okay. What I'll do is I will have, and I believe I know who you're talking about. I'll have a discussion with both of those individually. Okay. Both of those individuals on a one-on-one basis, and see what we can do to mitigate that. Now, when it comes to relationships, as you know, and things that are happening, those may be a little bit out of our control, being a company. Now, if it gets so far out of hand that it causes not only distraction, but it's against company policy, the way that it's set up with HR, then maybe something further can be done. We'll have to look at that. I'll have to look at that and talk to HR, because we need to make sure that we follow procedures.
So am I gonna get paid more if I make more calls than mommy does?
You're
You
gonna
never made more calls than me.
You will get paid more if you sell more. So the more calls you make, the more sales, or the more potential you have to close sales, is ultimately what it is. So if you're calling 50 calls a day, 200 calls a week, or I guess, 250 calls a week, 5 days a week, but then you're only doing 40 calls a day, then you're having a major drop off in production. So the more people you call, and that might lead into a little bit about what Lonnie said, is the leads suck. I mean, he just threw it out there like a bowling ball, right? He was like, the leads are horrible. And what do you do with that? So maybe your leads are not even that good. What are the customers telling you? I mean, you're getting a bad lead, but what are they saying? Are these just completely dead leads?
They're not qualified.
Okay, they're not qualified.
by.
So the leads that you were receiving prior, like last month and maybe the previous quarter, were just better quality leads?
Better leads.
Okay, I don't think that we've had a change in lead services, but that's something I'll look into, and that could be what it is. Or maybe, maybe they're just giving us junk that's recycled from a different, they're not too exclusive, in other words. They're sending us junk over and over. So I'll take a look into that, and then we'll address that, and I'll get back to you, and then we'll have another group discussion about that.
It might also be the market though, the leads are changing because the economy is changing. So maybe we're just getting people who are reflective of the forward economy.
It could be. It could be that, on the East Coast where we're calling, as it moves maybe across all the way to the West, that you could be having a transitional period, just like in real estate. When I used to be on a sales call center floor, much like this, before I was a manager, I used to work in real estate and sell real estate leads. And in Florida, the market started to tank before it did in Seattle, and I happen to have Florida. So it started to go down quick.
Your leads sucked.
They sucked. And so all the people in Washington and everybody on the sales floor were doing excellent. So I understand that. So it could be, an economic thing as well. So the leads that we may be receiving, just aren't even we're covering the East Coast, maybe we need it more, it needs to be more centralized within specific areas where the economics aren't as bad yet, so that we can still pull out as much as we can on a positive level. Okay. Okay, so we got some good feedback going on. This is the idea behind the speeches by management, aspire to, praise and inspire at the same time. When we first come out and I'm communicating with you, I want you to feel empowered, that you are the best team. You're Team Bentley, right? We named it with a high value dollar mark, but then again, I also told you that we've been carrying the company for the last 2 years. We're far ahead of everybody else. And I want you to feel empowered, and I want you to walk away feeling good and positive that you are the best and that you're going to succeed. And then the second portion of this is that you have my support. Have you ever been in those management situations where they just don't want to listen, they don't care, they just tell you make it happen? I don't care what your problem is, make it happen. Go ahead and up your calls. The economy's terrible, too bad, just get better at your sales. You just keep calling more. Well, that doesn't really work. And so what we want to tie in is the support and say that I'm here with you. And that supporting you and empowering you at the same time ties these two together. So that you'll go out and you'll make the effort, and you know that I'm going to go in on the back end side of things, and I'm going to make the effort, and we're going to come back together and we're going to try to solve this problem to bring us back up to number one. Toastmaster, okay?